Hello, everyone. This is Chris G, and hope y'all doing all right. And today I wanted to talk about a particular Bible verse that I thought ties in pretty heavy with the raising of children, raising of young people. And it is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4. And it reads, "Do not provoke your children to wrath, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord." Now, I believe this verse can not only work for, people that are Christians that practice the faith, but I think it also can be used for people that may not be Christians, because I think it's very practical. I think it's very important to not provoke your children to wrath. You got a lot of parents out here today that instead of trying to love their children and teach them, a lot of them are more worried about trying to intimidate their children and, intimidate their children. And a lot of them are trying to like psychologically damage their children by doing all these harmful things to them, you know. And, I remember hearing about a situation where, a young guy, back when he was a kid, and I think he had turned like 12 or 13 or something like that. And I remember I heard about it. His dad said, you 13 now, so I'm gonna use my fist. You start messing up. He told his son something like that to that effect, and I was just like, wow. It's like, okay, if the son hasn't really done anything to you aggressively, trying to harm you, like why are you threatening him? He didn't do anything to try to test your authority or manhood or something like that. So it's like, to me, I believe that's stirring up the pot. Some people would try to say, oh, well, he just letting him know up front, boy, you better not try to. But it's like, if he hasn't done anything, if he hasn't done anything and he respects his father, he has never threatened his father. I really don't see a reason in to, trying to like threaten your child off the rip if they haven't done anything. Now, if they've done something, that's a whole different story. But if they haven't done anything, I really don't think we should be trying to stir up stuff. And I definitely have noticed a lot, and I'm quite sure a bunch of different ethnicities and race groups have dealt with this type of thing. But me, being black, I know this is definitely something that's pretty big in Black America. I grew up in a time period where where to it was really big where parents were like seriously abusing their kids. There was parents that were like really excessive, even like step parent people that were really excessive with like chastising, with like spankings, or as some people call them, in Black America, some people, they call it whoopings. Some of the parents got like really excessive with it, to the point where kids were like seriously hurt. I myself, I can understand if the child had done a certain thing where a parent would think that the proper punishment should be, you know, chastising them, let's say with a belt. Like, for example, if the child goes to the school and decides to like put hands on the teacher because, the teacher said, put your phone away, and then the child didn't want to do it, or the student was told to leave the classroom. Because I saw a video one time where a kid, I think the kid might have been maybe like, they may have been high school age, 12 or 14 or something like that. And then like, they didn't have the proper dress code. The kid was told to leave the classroom, and the kid just took a basketball and chunked it at the teacher. Okay, stuff like that. Okay, I can understand, a parent wants to, chastise their child, with a belt. I know that's controversial. People have their opinions on that, chastise with the belt, with punishment, or not do it. You know, I just leave that up to the parents. Um, I do believe it should be done within reason, you know. So I can understand in that type of situation. But like I said, you don't want to go be excessive with it. But I mean, but if it's something like, you know, like a kid accidentally knocks over a vase in the house, or the kid spills milk, it's like, do you really gotta, you know, like, use, hardcore punishment over that? You know what I mean? And I remember back in the day, you just had a lot of parents that did that type of stuff. Um, or let's say, for example, um, if you got a kid, and, the kid's like, you know, 13 or 12, and you tell them they need to be in the house by the time the street lights come on, but let's say they get in like 5 minutes after. Okay, like, do you think it's okay? Let's say it's a son. Excuse me. Let's say it's a son, and he came in like 5 minutes after the street lights came on. Like, do you think it's all right for the dad to like yoke the son up by the neck and like slam him against the wall and be like, I told you supposed to be back before the street lights, and you're like seriously got him by the neck? It's like, do you really think that's a good thing to do? I think that's extremely unnecessary. You know, you had a lot of, you know, uh, dads and stepfathers back in the day. Like I said, they were so big on like being real excessive with like spankings, and so big on like threatening the son, and possibly the other children too, that they didn't take the time out to think like, hey, I need to teach this child. Let's say, for example, a father having a son, instead of thinking like, hey, I need to teach this son about things about life, and like also, if you're, Christian, teaching them about the Lord. It's like, a lot of, instead of them like thinking about teaching the son, many of them, like I said, they were just too worried about intimidating the son. And, if they did mess up, they were just, a lot of times, were excessively chastising the son, spanking him or whooping him with the belt or slinging him around. They're more worried about that, and also more worried about sleeping with their son's mother. You see, a lot of that happened back when I was young. We had a lot of that going on in America, and I know a lot about that happening in Black America. Also, in a household, if excuse me, if the family had like a stepfather, stepdad, a lot of times there was times where the stepdad really didn't too much care about the kids, and they had no problem just seriously beating those kids, instead of, you know, thinking about trying to show love and teaching those kids. You know what I'm saying? And I just know a lot about that. I also remember hearing about something about a kid back when I was younger. The kid did something. Uh, it was a son, and I think he might have like probably did some class clown stuff in school. It couldn't have been nothing hardcore, like fighting someone or whatever. And from what I heard, like his dad waited like all day for the chastising, the spanking. He waited all day. He waited till the son got into the shower to get cleaned up, and then the dad just went to town and just started hitting him with the belt while he was in the shower. That's abuse. you know um also heard a story where, um this dude's dad would like just, because the dude had like a bunch of siblings, and like the dad would just start just he would just whoop everybody, and there are some people that got, the guy, he ended up getting whooping and didn't even do anything. And you know that son confronted his dad and told him, hey man, like every time you like women, I didn't do nothing. And that dad's response was, well, you were going to do something bad in the future. Like, what kind of stuff is that? Come on, man. So what you're like, you were chastising him for stuff in the future? Like, come on, man. So with that type of logic, it would be okay if a police officer, like if you were smoking a cigarette and you were like close to a situation, like 15 feet away from a situation, and the cop just starts beating this one guy with a nightstick, and then they see you over there with the cigarette, and they start beating you with a nightstick, and you're like, man, I ain't even do nothing, officer. And then the officer's like, well, you're going to commit a crime in the future, so there you go. So you deserve getting hit with that nightstick. That sounds like that type of logic, and that's just crazy, you know. And I say all that to say this, man. It's very important when your children, when they're around those ages, they're getting between like, 10, 14, around there, like, the preteens and stuff, early, adolescents. Like it's important to sit down with those kids and to teach them. Teach them about what's going on in life. Teach them about, how to do finances. Teach them about, if it's a father have a son, teach them how to like change a tire. How to, like change oil. You know what I'm saying? Take them with you to go grocery shopping. Teach them how to buy certain types of foods. Teach them about how to work things on a budget. If you got a son as a father, teach him how to conduct himself around the fairer sex and act in a proper, decent, respectful manner where he does not scare off the fairer sex, the young ladies. Teach him these things. Teach him how to, explain to him how it's important to have discipline at a job and work hard to be able to earn a living and not waver. Teach them about those things, and also too, you can teach them about the knowledge of God too, if you go the Christian route. But like I said, that type of verse can also be worked with people that are non-Christians. But it's very important to teach your kids and to love your kids during that time period. It's a very, very serious time period in their lives, and you can teach kids things even when they're elementary school age. But I especially say it's deeply important around that preteen stepping into the adolescence, man, because they're going through a lot of changes, and they need knowledge and they need love to get through to the next level, to the next phase of their life. It's not about just hitting kids with a belt when they mess up. That's not what raising a child is about, man. You know, um, I think another thing that's good too is to teach you, do like a wellness check. And you don't have to do it every day. It'd be cool if you did, but do a wellness check, because especially nowadays, mental health is very important. Like maybe like once a week, or maybe once every couple of weeks or something like that. Just, go up to your child and ask him, his son and daughter, say, hey, look, you doing all right? How you doing? Everything all right? And if they say everything is good, okay, everything's good. But if it's not, hey, let's sit down and talk about this. Be there for your kids, man. Be there for your kids, and love them and encourage them, and really do that, because like I said, that time period is very important. And see, when you do bad things to the young ones, that can provoke wrath. There could be a situation where excuse me, the young kid that has been harassed and mistreated for so many years, they just lash out, and then they do horrible things to their parents. They hurt their parents, or they might even get to the point where they unalive their parents, because they had done so many bad things to to the young ones, that the young ones, they crash out, as the young people say. They flip out. I remember seeing a movie. I don't know who. I think Denzel was in it, him or somebody. And I remember it was a scene in the movie where they were talking. The gentleman in the movie was talking about his father, and he had said something. He said something along the lines of like he hoped that his father was not living anymore. He said, "I hope my father's not alive. I hope he's not living anymore." And you could tell he was really, he had a real just like upset face when he talked about his father. And more than likely, he feels that way, and he made that statement because his father did some bad stuff to that man in the movie. You know, and another thing too, if you, excuse me, you provoke your child to wrath, that can come back to haunt the parents, because it's like if you keep doing bad stuff to your kids, hey, you know what? One day when the parents, when you get older, now let's say you might get into a situation where you become to go you become to be like senile. You start having these health complications. You end up having a stroke. You end up having a situation where you've been diagnosed with cancer. You're having problems, and you're trying to make it through life, and you need assistance. Well, hey, if you got like a son, daughter, or a few kids, and you treated them bad in life, it could come to a situation where they say, hey, you know what? I remember all those years that you treated me really bad, and you didn't care about it as a parent. So you know what? Hey, you got those, you have those ailments. Hey, you know what? Hey, you better figure it out, and they just leave you be. And as a parent, I know that parent would have to feel really bad about that. If their kids just say, we ain't got nothing to do with you. Just if you sick, you better figure it out. That would have to feel really bad as a parent. So, that's basically what I have to say about this. Like I said, hey, parents, don't provoke your kids to wrath. Love them, teach them, and nurture them so they can grow up to be good adults. And if you also follow follow the good book, teach them some of that stuff too. Because when you don't provoke the kids to wrath, it's a pretty good chance that there's going to be a good bond between the parent and the kids, and that's definitely a good thing. So, and I think they'll love you for it a lot later on in life, and definitely encourage your kids to really encourage them. That goes a long way because the kids remember that. So I know I said a lot, but that's basically what I have to say about this. So that's pretty much it. This is Chris G signing off. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.